And if you go through that process, you start looking at that line and you say, wow, this is amazing, what we call in the business world hockey stick, where it starts out flat and then all of a sudden it just spikes up and goes through the roof. Those are so hard to forecast because you never know, number one, will the hockey stick happen? Number two, where will it happen? Number three, how steep will it be? And number four, how long will it last? What has become clear here is that social media is not a fad. This is what the future of Internet is. What has happened is it stopped being I talk to you and you quietly listen, and it has become a conversation back and forth between individuals of companies, between companies and companies. All kinds of different things are happening. Let me continue a little bit more history. YouTube, January 2008, 10 hours of video are being uploaded per minute. By May 2010, it's 24 hours of video uploaded per minute. Then if you look more, in July 2006, there were 100 million video views per day on YouTube, July 2006. In October 2009, it hit 1 billion. And by May 2010, it was 2 billion video views per day. That is 30 million hours of video being watched every single day. I'd like to have that bandwidth. All right. So, and all this says nothing about LinkedIn and blogs and mobile and hub pages and Squidoo and all those other kinds of sites. And lots of key strategies have come along during that time. So let's talk about some of these strategies that I believe are so important. What I'd like to do is just sort of skim through several strategies right now, and then we will loop back, and I'm going to talk about several strategies in detail.
Awesome.
One of them is, actually, I'm redoing these things as we go along. Let's talk about local for just a moment. I don't know how many of the people on this call or who are involved in your course actually have local businesses, which usually implies that you've got a business operation that people walk into and sit down at, or buy services from a local plumber or a local roofer or something like that. Well, local is a key part of social media that's just exploded. Let me spend 2 minutes and just talk about, okay, if you're local and you're not in Yelp, you're in serious trouble. If you're local and you're not being involved with Foursquare to bring people to your company, so just think about this for a second. Let's just imagine you own a donut shop. And on average, in a typical day, you bring in 100 customers. They come, sit, eat a donut, drink a cup of coffee, whatever it is. And you use Foursquare. So for those of you who don't know what Foursquare is similar to a Twitter, but it is location-based. And so what people do is they check in different locations. So when people arrive at your particular donut shop, they will go into Foursquare and they'll check in that they've arrived there. It sends out a note to all their followers and says, hey, I'm at Jason's Donut Shop at 52nd and Wells. Come down and have a donut with me. And what ends up happening is Foursquare tends to actually cause people to get in their car or jump on their bike or walk over, and they actually sit down with Jason and have a donut with him while they're there. Now, for Jason, there's all kinds of various questions about whether he would want to do this or not. One of the main ones being, do you want everyone to know that you're not at home so they should come rob you? But for the person who runs the donut shop, this is absolutely huge. Because if you think about it, if each one of these people who walks in, if just 10 of the people who walk in check in, and of those 10 people who check in, 3 of them bring in 3 people each, you just increased your business by 10%.
Right.
That's not very big numbers, but it's an increase of 10% in your business, all from something that is totally free. And so you do things like making people who come in a mayor for that particular location. Maybe you give them a free cup of coffee or whatever, or on a regular basis you do things just to encourage these people to happen, and all of a sudden your business is up 10, 20%, which can make a huge difference. Gowalla is a similar kind of service. Google Maps is another amazing element of this social local kind of thing that's happening out there. So if you go into your local community and you put in restaurants, Racine, Wisconsin. It'll give you 8 different restaurants that come up, and there's not only the map, and it shows you where they are on the map, but it gives reviews, and that's where it suddenly starts getting interesting, is that people are placing reviews about your particular location, your particular service, and people are able to make buy, no buy decisions based on that. And so if you're not paying attention to this, if you are actively encouraging those things, that's great. So I'm looking right now at that very sheet for Racine, Wisconsin, where I live. And what I see is that I see 2, 4, 6, 7 different restaurants. One of them has 34 reviews. One of them has 31 reviews. All the rest have less than 20. And I look at those and I say, okay, that either means they're really bad or they're really good. And so I go click on those, and I find out the one who has 34 reviews actually has good reviews. Do you think that's going to cause me to say, hey, I've never actually been to that particular restaurant, I should go? And all of a sudden, your business doesn't explode, but it certainly expands in this process. Those are some of the kinds of things that are happening in social media. So Jason, let's step back here and just ask you a question. I'm going to see how good you are. Okay? All right. What are the 4 major reasons why businesses use social media? What do you think the number one is?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I would say is because of tapping into the trigger of social proof. I mean, that's what comes to mind when I hear you talking about all these things. I mean, everybody listening to this in the course knows that recently I injured my knee and I needed to go and find an orthopedic surgeon. And I went on Yelp and I looked at reviews, and that's how I found it. And it was the same thing for my hair cutter, and it was the same thing for my massage therapist. I found all these people, but it's because I had limited time and I needed to make a quick decision. And one of the best things that could help me make a buy, no buy decision, like you said, was social proof. Well, what do other people think? Let's just let them do the hard work for me and shortcut the process. So I think if a business is smart, they're tapping into it because of social proof. But I don't know if that's the actual reason that most businesses are thinking about that. Another reason that comes to my mind is just to actually connect with new markets or to connect more deeply with your current market, knowing that in multiple contacts, you're going to have more likely to reach the sale. And then I'd say driving traffic, because if you can drop people a link in front of people wherever their eyeballs are, and people are spending as much or more time in Facebook as in their email inbox, let's get them to take action. We need to drop our links in those places. I don't know. Those are a few that come to my mind, but
okay, you are really good. I just want everyone to know how good Jason really is. Okay, so the guy you're paying to teach this course just got 3 out of the 4.
Nice.
So congratulations. Well done. Okay, so the 4 reasons are: number 1, to drive traffic to my website, 61% of the people; to make money, 56% of the people. And isn't it interesting? That's the one you left out, Jason. We got to talk about that. All right. Number 3 is to build relationships with prospects. That's 54%. Number 4 is to build relationships with customers. That is 43%. So if you combine the build relationships with prospects with building relationships with customers, 97% of businesses are using it to build relationships. And here's where that gets really, really interesting. Basically what that's telling us is that people have bought into what I consider to be the single biggest issue with social media, and that is there are a number of trainers out there who have been telling everyone that social media is primarily for building relationships. And what they're telling them is that social media can't be used for making money. And in reality, it's exactly the opposite when you think about it. So give me just a minute. I'm going to take you down a path here for just a moment. I believe the single biggest reason why companies don't make money using social media is because they are trying to do business social media the way they do personal social media. So they are trying to build their business using the same techniques they use to connect with their old college roommates. And that's where the problem comes in.